You are listening to Single Smart Female. This is Jen, explaining the possibilities in your love life and examining your mantourage dating experiences. I am here to help you do life and love on your terms by tipping the scales of love permanently in your favor. So don't forget to text this episode to all of your single smart girlfriends, and let's get started. Why, hello, single smart female. It's your romantic fairy godmama. And today we have a listener question all the way from the wonderful country of Australia. And no, I won't torture you with an Australian accent, but just know I am internally dying. I really want to. I want to read this submission with an Australian accent, a really horrible one, but that's only because I can only do a really horrible one. But I really want to. But I'm going to spare you because that's how much I love you. Okay. Miss, we're going to call her Miss Australia for today. Right. Dear Jen, I've been getting to know multiple men, and one is turning out to be a front runner in terms of how easily we get along and can discuss a manner of all things, including difficult topics to do with our feelings and issues that arise. I've been getting to know him over 6 months, and we usually see each other in person every second weekend and speak a few times a week on the phone. I've dated other men along the way of getting to know this one, and let's call him Countryman, as he lives 5 hours from where I live in the country, whereas I am in the city. The other men I've dated have only lasted 2 or 3 dates, but I'm continuing to try to meet people and keep my options open. Countryman and I have recently discussed the fact that it seems like a relationship is growing out of dating. I would be happy to move to the country in some months' time, as I have always liked the idea of being in the country. The only issue is that he has 3 young children ages 5, 7, and 8, and they live with him 1 week on and 1 week off. I'm not sure what questions to ask about how this will work with being able to spend enough quality one-on-one time together. I'm not sure if this is something that we can work out before I am to take the leap of being in a relationship and moving towns. If I move to his town, I have decided, though, to rent a place of my own for 12 months to continue testing out the relationship gradually. I've never been in a relationship with someone with children. I don't have children myself. I'm not sure if it's going to suit me or not in terms of children being involved. I'd appreciate your advice on what questions to ask on how to navigate this before I take the chance of moving towns. Okay. Miss Australia. By the way, very well thought out question. I like it. I want to talk about a couple things. The only points of concern here, and this might just be your personality, but it's definitely something to consider. Instead of just looking for somebody that it's easy to talk to and talk about difficult topics, that's important, don't get me wrong, but make sure that you're really having fun together too, and that y'all really connect on that level as well. That is very, very important. So there's really only one very important question that you have to ask before you move. If you want to take this adventure and go on the move, I agree with you. Definitely move into your own place first. But there's only one real question that you need to ask him and then see how it unfolds from there. First off, I'm asking you, do you want children? Okay, because that's a big question here. He's already got 3. Do you want children? And if you don't know, that is perfectly fine. So the question to him to be, if you do know, the question is going to be, is he willing to have more children? Okay, that's really important. And you can tell him, like, if you don't really want children, but you would like him to be open to it if you do change your mind. This is stuff you need to know before you leave, okay, before you decide to move. What I don't want you to do is walking into a situation, moving towns for somebody that has already decided there's no way in hell. It doesn't mean he couldn't change his mind, but I just don't want you to put that kind of pressure on yourself. No way in hell that there's going to be additional children involved if you do get into a long-term relationship that turns into marriage or whatever type of relationship you want and involves children. So that's really an important question to ask. Then all the other stuff, which I've talked about on other podcasts, finding out, if he's financially responsible, all those other things, those will work themselves out. And then what you can do, you can ask those too as you get there. I really like the idea of you moving into your own place because then you can start experimenting with what works for the two of you, but you always have a place to retire to. And you can definitely be in this relationship and see how things start to pan out, especially in reference to his children, but you're not committed to being in the same home. Okay, I lied. There is one more question that I think would be good to ask before you decide to move. And the question is whether or not he believes that the mother of his children, is she in a good place where she would be okay with you being around her children? Okay? Because what you don't want to do is walk into a very hostile situation from the beginning. That's something definitely to consider. Again, now, let's say everything goes well with that conversation and you do decide to move and you do decide to experiment with this relationship and see how it goes. Then I would still take the children a little bit at a time. I wouldn't do a whole bunch of involvement right out the gate. That way, you're warming them up to the idea. They're young, so there's a good chance that they'll accept you right away. But I like a whole warm-up phase, especially in reference to children. And then they see you coming in more consistently. And then that way, you are figuring out what's going on between you and him. And if that's working out, because that's the most important piece too, before that, because if that's not working out well, but yet you and the children get along brilliantly, then there could be an issue there where you're trying to make everything work really hard with him just because you really like the kids and don't want to disappoint him. So I definitely suggest make it just little by little that the two of you are that you're meeting specifically with the kids. Those are my real suggestions for you. It sounds like you got a good head on your shoulders. If you find out, worst case scenario, like let's say you really want to have kids and he doesn't, then of course you should not move out to be with him. Instead, you should continue your mantourage dating experience and then just allow something to unfold, because I want you to have the love life that you want, not just the idea of somebody else. Okay, Lover Girl, it's time for the final thought on today's show. An important question you should ask a man that wants an exclusive relationship with you who has kids is whether or not he'd be willing to have more kids with you, if and when the time comes. Don't give up on your romantic dreams for someone who's already gotten theirs. Hey, Lover Girl, don't forget to subscribe to the show in your favorite podcast app, as well as share this episode with all of your single smart girlfriends. And if you are ready to stop pretending that you can indefinitely survive on scraps of his romantic attention, and instead learn how to mantourage date with your romantic fairy godmama directly, then come schedule your application interview at secretsocietyofAdoredWomen.com. Most women repeatedly fail in their romantic endeavors because they have the wrong guidance, no accountability, no romantic support system, and shit-ass one-size-fits-all dating advice that doesn't work for smart, successful women. Adored Women, on the other hand, have me at their fingertips to help them brilliantly navigate mantourage dating with excessive laughter, giddiness, and all the right feels you've been craving. True love included, no batteries required. See you at secretsocietyofAdoredWomen.com.